Hello, hello, and welcome to uh my okay. So I stopped watching One Piece. Now, obviously, this stop watching in quotation marks. I stopped really watching episode by episode and just really catching up with major things for a while now. And I decided, hey, let's just pick up from where I left off and continue. And I'll review episode by episode as I go. So right now, so far, my right now I have some giving the black background as I talk, so you're not just sitting here looking at a goddamn black screen all the damn time. Okay, so, like I was saying, this was going to be a review of the recent episode I watched. Not the most recent of One Piece, but, of my way catching up. Right now, I just watched episode 338, where Brook, the skeleton, explains his entire backstory and really what happened to his crew, his ship, and everything like that. And the introduction to Thriller Bark. Well, Thriller Bark coming to them, and not like them arriving at Thriller Bark. But yeah. So, what's happening so far? Well, first of all, Brook coming onto the ship. Everything seemed that's kind of normal how everyone reacted, everything like that. He's kind of weird, Brook, but at the same time, I feel like it's really just a mask because of how he's so proper. And I'm pretty sure it's just Robin is his type or something. I also wouldn't be surprised he lost the ability to talk to others because he's been what, alone for decades, he says. Which is, I guess, normal. But I'm surprised his body was already a complete skeleton by the time it was only a year he said he came back. At the same time, that could have been just a complete lie because last time I checked, there's no way to calculate. He didn't have a watch on him or any really way to tell time. So it's very, and due to how he describes how he was found, his soul was technically separate from his consciousness. What I do find weird about Brook, though, still is that he can still burp, everything like that. Do things that you wouldn't be able to do if he didn't have a tongue. So it's, and he can still pronounce stuff, so he has like some kind of, so I guess it didn't affect his ability to talk. Which is interesting. At the same time, though, it would be also very, no one would really understand him. But so far, like Brook's the character. Explaining the whole Afro is just he has really strong roots is just, alright, my guy. Same reaction as Zoro. But, yeah. What else is going to talk about? Oh, yeah, the whole reaction to it. Zoro also showed in this episode him being definitely, like, the second in command. He's always been the second in command, but, like, it definitely shows now. Like, it showed earlier, but with when he dealt with Usopp, dealing with the whole Usopp situation and saving Robin. But, yeah. But after that, what was I gonna say? After that, Zoro reacted the same and stuff like that. Like I said before, showing how he's like what, second in command to other things. What else I want to talk about? Like, Usopp being Usopp makes sense. Tony Chopper, my favorite character. Well, my favorite of the Straw Hats, I should say. Uh, favorites and favorite character wise, I should say. Kind of wish he had some more moments. Most of his fights been seeming like side fights, not really anything major. Even though they're really strong people he's fighting. It's just if given to anybody else, they probably would have like won sooner. Same with like when Nami gets in fights and stuff like that. And even though I really hope he keeps getting fights because his whole thing of combat, it's very interesting. And I like it, so I just want to see more of it. Who else? Oh yeah, Thriller Bark itself. So apparently Thriller Bark was like a living island or something. Or I don't even know how it actually works. So except for what we've seen so far. So Thriller Bark, there will be a barrel. If you grab the barrel and if you open it, it's just a flare that attracts Thriller Bark to you, which is insane. Because I don't remember how far back they even got that. I think it was because remember it's been like a decent amount of years since One Piece. Yeah, I'm like really behind. But it's just like, damn, that's like one hell of a ship. Also, all Brook losing his shadow. So apparently, there's somebody that can control shadow. And apparently, this when you don't have a shadow, you are very weak to light and basically become like vampire. Well, like a vampire, I should say. That's the correct way to pronounce that. Which I also find pretty interesting. Because at the same time, whoever has that power can just kind of insta-win fights. Unless he himself is also weak, which makes sense. I forgot the whole typing thing, like Paramecia, Logia. And what's the other one? Zoan. I think it's a Paramecia. Because I'm pretty sure, I think Paramecia is like the other typing. Logia, I think, is like you become like an element. Zoan becomes like an animal or something else, a transformation to something else that you can usually have control. So yeah. When we look at it though, Brook is definitely gonna be on the team because Luffy is already down to have him, and when Luffy has something on wants to do something, he usually just does it. I mean, Zoro ain't gonna say no, it's his captain. But yeah, Brook. Okay, who else was this? Usopp and Chopper. That's who I want to talk about. Usopp and Chopper doing like their usual thing of. Also, apparently Usopp bought that stuff. I have no idea when he bought the stuff to, like, anti-ghost stuff. Even Chopper, but I assume he had it. I mean, the only place he would have gotten it was at Water 7. I think, because that's when they got the new ship. If I'm still correct on that. If I'm correct on that, I should say. But yeah. So Tony and Chopper, Usopp acting like Usopp. Tony Chopper also kind of just goes along with some like when nonsense happens. I really wish he would get like it's like, I understand him being like a funny character. It's talking reindeer. At the same time though, it feels like Chopper's been through so much that you would think he would take it more seriously, and he does when the moment's right. But at the same time, I think, how old is even Chopper? I forgot. I think he's pretty sure he's pretty young. Hell, even able to understand that doctor knowledge stuff is, because I assume he did it pretty young as well. So he's already like what is it? A genius. I just don't think we see it in his fights that much. I'm pretty sure. At least not as much as I wish we would. Because so far, what I've seen of his fights is that he kind of just goes along with stuff. Again, makes sense. But at the same time, though, what's the point of having him on the team, unlike the group? It makes sense they need a doctor, and it's an interesting thing for a doctor. But it's like, if you're always just going to have him there on the sidelines, just like ignoring him, just having him as a kind of like closer to like a helper character, like a side character, helper character that's just a main character. You could have what is it? Like had him try to change the character so you can do more with it. But we'll see as I continue to watch it more. Maybe he'll have something major during this whole Thriller Bark arc. We also get to see Nico Robin finally fully, because she's now fully active in this arc with the Straw Hats. Who else? Zoro, Sanji, and Nami. I guess are kind of there for right now. I assume they'll also have some major stuff this arc. Probably not, from how they been part of it so far. Just kind of as like Sanji being Sanji, and actually, well, kind of. Well, Sanji being serious, and Nami still being the what is Nami's character again? Like the one who actually has the most sense out of the group. And then again, this is only my first episode back. I still remember all the characters. It's just also this episode is more like a backstory episode. And like the introduction of Thriller Bark. So it's pretty slow. But yeah. Otherwise, I'm pretty excited for what's gonna happen. Brook seems very mysterious and like hiding. Well, not hiding intentionally, but more like not telling the full backstory or anything. Because multiple times where he just says, like, one time he says just to be continued. And it's like, how about you just tell us? And Sanji's like, or was it, I think it was Sanji, that like finish now or something. How about you tell us now, not later? So I think he's kind of just doesn't want to talk about it that much, which is understandable if you're the only one left of your crew. Like the only one left. So understandable. And you probably don't want to have to go through the whole thing. Also, he even said he was been alone for years, so who knows what he's actually been through. Because we do know from one scene he saw a person be destroyed by the sunlight. So we know he had to at least see that. Which again, for normal, Brook just seems like but for what we've seen of Brook, I've seen of Brook as far, he's just kind of a musician, and then just a normal human. He even said like after, even Zoro said like, or like one of them said like after. It kind of just seems like the revival food brought him back, and then that was it. That's all he got, which isn't a bad thing. Still pretty powerful for a devil fruit. It's just to what we've seen so far is that he's doesn't have any powers except that he's a musician. So maybe he'll have to have some kind of music power. Then again, One Piece can give like any fighting style of power, not just Zoro and Sanji having and Luffy having like hand. Luffy being more like a brawler style, Zoro being a swordsman, and Sanji being a specializer in like kicks and stuff. Which is really interesting when you actually think how fighting styles of all the characters. Usopp kind of is just capping, and that's how he gets through a lot of his fights. He's actually pretty smart when you actually get down to it. He just doesn't use it that much, I'm pretty sure. Tony has a lot of firepower and has a lot of stuff as being a medic. But yeah, I'm hoping they get more spotlight. Luffy's obviously going to be probably fighting the main bad, like always. Which is normal. I mean, makes sense. You want the main character to fight the main bad. I'm just hoping those guys also get a good fight as well. Well, and also Brook said if he ever sees the guy who stole his shadow, he'll fight him to the death to get it back. So I'm hoping maybe we'll see that as well, and then Luffy and they will come in to save him. That might be an interesting thing to watch. I'm also really hoping to see Robin's whole thing and the way she fights as well. Because it seems everyone part of the Straw Hats has at least some kind of physical fighter, even though they're not really like built for fighting like Nami and Usopp. Well, Usopp is, but they just keep throwing him into close range fights, even though he's a sniper. He uses it sometimes, so I'm hoping we get to see more sniper fights with him. But I guess a sniper fight wouldn't be as interesting because it's super far. It's going to be probably taking super far away compared to other types of fights. So it wouldn't be as interesting. Because all the fights I've seen really have all like the characters like right there next to each other, which makes sense to keep all the fights in line and make sure they don't interact with each other too much. Like you wouldn't want what is it? Some characters overlapping because it's going to take away from that fight and showing what those characters can do. But yeah, let's hope Usopp will do more of that. And plus, Usopp's more of a supposed to be probably more of a supporting fire. Well, the major fights we see is that they all get one character to fight, and one Straw Hat fights them. Who else? Yeah, like I said, I'm hoping to see how Brook fights as well, because shouting someone to the death means that he has some kind of physical ability that he's probably not gearing himself to win, but he at least can. He knows who did it. I'm pretty sure, so he knows who he's looking for. I'm also not sure how he's able to actually see the person being brought alive by taking away the shadow, because I thought he's on the ship that entire time, but he could have probably gone off of it maybe, or Thriller Bark itself is what ate him, but I'm pretty sure he's also from a long time ago, where Thriller Bark was more of a common thing. Well, more of a known thing, because the Straw Hats didn't know, and they have like a bunch of people. Tony, it makes sense that a lot of them don't know either, though, because most are from East Blue. I'm pretty sure, is Tony from East Blue, or is he? Yeah, Tony's from Grand Line. Chopper's from the Grand Line. I'm pretty sure just everyone. I'm pretty sure the only ones not from the Grand Line are Zoro, Luffy, Nami, Usopp. And is that it? I think that's it. Yeah, because they get Chopper later. They get Nico Robin later. They get Frankie. Then Nico Robin kind of at the same time, I'm pretty sure. Then it's Brook. So yeah, I think that's all we had. That's all they're from, and that's my current thoughts so far on this episode. And well, the first episode I watched. Tomorrow I'll watch the next episode and I'll do a review then, and we'll just go one episode per day, and we'll see what happens. So I will thank you all for watching, and bye bye.